Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. As always, we start with the headline news, and the headline news this evening is that Everton are in talks with Atalanta striker Dusan Zapata over a loan move with an option to buy this summer, and are hopeful of completing the transfer. That's come from Mark Douglas of the iPaper, normally quite a decent, reliable journalist. We ran a poll on the Toffee Blues saying Dusan Zapata at Everton, leave us your thoughts. 958 of you have voted so far. It's open for another 22 hours. 63.8% of you said yeah. 24.8% of you said I don't know. And 11.4% of you said nope. I voted yeah. Loan with the option to buy, I think, is very sort of low risk. The Mirror Football also added in on Zapata, and they said Everton are in negotiations with a loan deal with an option to buy of 15 million. So it's probably a loan, 15 million. We like him. Like I said, we did a poll. A lot of us said yeah. Listen, my thoughts here are loan with an option to buy. It isn't the end of the world. If it doesn't work out, we just don't buy him, or God forbid we go down and can't afford it, we just don't buy him. He does a job for it like Atalanta. He's a big lad. He gets himself about. He is more logical than Neil Moipai was because he suits a Calvert-Lewin build. He's a big lad, very good in the air, can hold the ball up. He makes a lot more sense than Neil Moipai and a couple of the other strikers we've been after. And for me, I'm always going to say yes to a loan with an option to buy. Not an obligation, but an option, because you can just send them back if they're not good enough. Yeah, buy before you buy. I've got no qualms with that. And he is a Champions League playing footballer. So, yeah, for me, he suits the build of Calvert-Lewin. It makes a lot of sense. Also coming from Mark Douglas to the eye, Everton, Newcastle winger Ryan Fraser has been offered to Everton. That's been offered, not that we're after him, but offered. Again, we ran a poll saying, would you take Ryan Fraser? 3,473 of you have voted. That's open for another 22 hours. 49.2% of you said yeah. 11.3% said I don't know. And then 39.5%, including myself, said no. I don't really. I don't see the balls with Ryan Fraser. I mean, he's got a decent cross on him, but yeah, it doesn't thrill me. It doesn't excite me. There are players that are a bit faster, a bit speedier. Half the problem with us is we moan that other than Damari Gray, he doesn't have an end product, no pace. So like Neil Moipai, not Neil Moipai, Dwight McNeil, we go, oh, he's not pacey enough. Ryan Fraser's not rapid. I mean, he does have an end product, but he's not rapid. And I think we need pace and an end product, unfortunately. Mark Douglas did also say that unless there is a huge U-turn, Fad Majiri is still planning to stick by the vote of confidence given to Frank Lampard. Might as well get into this one now. I think that's pretty shoddy by Majiri. I think once again he doesn't want to admit that he was wrong, and he's going to stick by a manager. We sat Benitez at this point last season, and it was touch and go. Frank Lampard needs to beat West Ham. We lose against West Ham, we're in trouble, and he needs to go. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think he's got a good enough record to stay here. I know people like him, and you might be sitting there going, oh, well, I like him. You like him. That's brilliant. You probably like your mum and dad, but you don't want them to manage Everton. He seems like a nice guy, but nice guys shouldn't manage Premier League football clubs that are this tough. He's not getting the work done, and you can blame the board, and that's fair. That is a fair criticism. But he brought in 8 players. That's half a squad in the summer, and it's still not good enough. His comments at half time against Southampton when we were winning, saying, don't worry about tactics, this isn't a tactical game, and then we go and lose. He's way out of his depth. Nice guy, should never have got the job. Really been hung. They should have never accepted it. Really poor. needs to be get gone. We need a strong, hard person who's going to be able to take this job because it is a hard job. It's too hard for somebody who's only managed two clubs and for a year and a half. Um, but Mashiri looks to be sticking with him because his ego can't take that he got it wrong. Or, and this is tinfoil hat, lads, but I also think because fans wanted Lampard enough to write it on Goodison Park, Mashiri's thinking I'll stick with him. If we go down, Mashiri's quite the type, in my opinion, to go, well, he was your manager, you wanted him, now look what you've done. He's very much the type to appoint him, stick with him, let him bring us down, and then use it against the fans because after his talk sport interview, I don't believe Mashiri thinks about fans in a good way. I think he's purely about switching and changing the narrative. But yeah, in terms of I think sticking with Lampard is basically, I think, I think you better start booking Preston away. Because under him, I think we go down. And the football's bleak as well. I wouldn't mind if we were pulling two passes together, but it's just not good enough. We have the Everton are interested in West Ham striker Mikel Antonio. West Ham are open to listening to offers for the 32-year-old. Wolves are also interested. That's come from Talk Sport. And we said, would you take Mikel Antonio at Everton? Leave your thoughts. 1,130 of you have voted. 41.2% of you said yeah. 16.7%, including myself, said I don't know. And 42.1% of you said no. So he's very much driving middle of the opinions there. Like him for West Ham, and I think he does well for them. He works hard. I don't think he's the most prolific striker, but he works hard. He's a big lad as well. He's pacey. Good job. My only worry is he going to cost us a bit? If this is a loan, and I'd be all over it. But yeah, I mean he's got his uses though. I think he gets in the team. I do think he gets in the team, which makes me think more towards yes. Borussia Dortmund want to sign Anthony Elanga. Everton and Bournemouth are also inquiring about the winger. The prospect of a move to the Bundesliga is likely to be more attractive for Elanga. That's come from Alex Crook. And I don't blame him. I'd rather go play in the Bundesliga than those two clubs in a relegation battle, especially for Borussia Dortmund. So we might lose out on him. If we lose out on him, I'm not devastated either. He's not. He's a good raw young player. That's what he is, a good young player. So yeah, I'm not going to be absolutely devastated at that one. We also have the Everton and Wolves are in talks with Atletico Madrid over defender Philippe. 33-year-old's contract expires in the summer, and Atletico are willing to let him go this month for a small amount. That's come via Rudy Galetti, who is a journalist for the Spanish TV and Calcio Mercato, TV Dello Sport, stuff like that. I don't know why we're after Philippe. I think he really is going to struggle in this league. Might be wrong, but 33-year-old on a bigger wage. We've seen this before. This is why we're down at the bottom half of the table. And I think he'll struggle. He's not the most mobile forward either. Defender, sorry, either. I think he'll struggle in the Premier League. We also have the Villarreal are giving Arnaut Danjuma special permission to stay in England to accelerate his departure. Everton and Bournemouth have made loan offers. Villarreal will not accept transfers that do not include a mandatory purchase at the end of the season. That's come from Nacho Sanchez, who is a Spanish journalist. More than likely, he's going to go to Bournemouth. And if Bournemouth can put money, then fair play. I think we're going to miss out on him because I don't think we have the money to stump up straight away, or I don't think we'll want to because I think we're now doing deals, especially loan deals, where it's like we want that player, but we also don't know where we're going to be. I think the club are fully expecting to be in the Championship next year, and they're being very careful with the signings. We also have the American businessman, Masik Kamisinski, has stepped back from talks with Fahd Majiri over the potential takeover or investment at Everton. That's come from Matt Law of the Daily Telegraph. This went very, very quiet, so I'm not surprised it's not happened because it went really quiet. We'll have to endure Majiri's reign a little bit more. Matt Lord does go on to say associates of Majiri are believed to have been stunned by the nature of his open letter and subsequent radio interview, in which he claimed that his hiring and firing of managers has been a consequence of pressure from supporters. He's also said that the Telegraph Sport understand the Premier League is still keeping an eye on Everton, Everton's spending amid the ongoing concerns over financial fair play. And then he followed it up with Kamazinski remained in talks with majority shareholder Majiri over the prospect of taking full control or investing heavily, but it's understood that there's been no contact between the pair since the World Cup. It sounds like he really wanted to buy. Majiri's done his classic, doesn't know whether he's done playing with his toy or not, and that Kamazinski thought, I'm not staying around playing silly beggars. You're either selling or you're not. It looks like we are going to have to endure Fad Majiri another more, which is just absolutely mind-boggling. Because as much as people go for the board, and I'm not saying that's wrong, I think the whole club need a revamp to bring it back into the 21st century. But this man, I think a lot of what you're seeing now is more down to him than the board. I agree the board needs everything at Everton needs a revamp, but my gosh, this man makes. I do agree that this man makes the main decisions, and he's playing football manager with the football club like he has done for the last 5 years. Whether it be transfers or this, he just seems like just mind-boggling, mind-boggling. The day he leaves, I will be very, very happy because it's depending on who he sells to, it'll feel like we've got our football club back up there. We also have from Business Deck, the Guardian's Business Deck, a group of football managers have raised concerns over the ownership of Everton after multiple managers have claimed that the now sanctioned Alisher Usmanov was present during the interviews for the Everton job. A close associate to one of the football managers who were interviewed for the Everton job said that during his interview, Usmanov was there and stated that he owned the football club, which isn't fantastic. Once again, I think Panorama investigated us over Paradise Files. This puts us more in dispute. It's bad enough what's going on the field, but off the field, it's just absolute mess. Does Majiri own us? Does Usmanov own us? What's going on in Everton? This is just a farce, just an absolute farce. Yeah. Merseyside police have now said that they are liaising with Everton about the alleged threats towards the board members, but no threats or incidents were reported to the police prior to the game. That will be regarding the headlock on Denise Barrett-Baxendale, or supposed headlock. We'll have to wait and see what comes out about that. I'm very interested to hear that. Very interesting that the police said no incidents were reported. In a football stadium where there's loads of cameras. If someone got someone in a headlock, you'd assume it was caught on camera, and you'd definitely report it to the police straight away. That's just my feeling. Like, I remember when Matty Cash and Digne had stuff thrown at them, very quickly picked out the fans that threw stuff and picked them out the crowd. I don't believe that this mystery man managed to lock her in a headlock and then disappear. We also have the Everton exploring a loan move with a clause to buy the Rem forward Kamaldeen Sumana. Bournemouth and Augsburg have also inquired. That's come from Fabrizio Romano. Bournemouth clearly need wingers, the same as us in their eyes. I like Sulemana. He dribbles with pace. He's direct. I do wonder how he'll adapt to the Premier League, but you never know till you take that chance. Like him though, he's a very young player, very raw, but very good. We did run a poll saying would you take him at Everton? 1,869 of you voted. 63.8%, including myself, said yeah. 30.2% of you said I'm unsure. 6.1% said no. A lot of people saying they never heard of him. He does play for Rennes. He's very good, got a lot of potential, but he is only young. I wouldn't pin all our hopes and dreams and survival on him. But yeah, that's all we got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on anything I've spoken about today. What do you think of Zapata, Danjuma, Sulemana, and the overall just state of this football club? And I'll see you guys very, very soon.